You're doing everything right. You pay your rent on time every single month. You don't have crippling credit card debt. You make a decent salary, maybe even a great one. If anyone looked at your life from the outside, they'd say, that person has it together. You followed the rules. You went to school, got the job, show up, work hard, pay your bills, but then you open your banking app, and the number just sits there, flat, barely moving, month after month, and there's this voice in the back of your head that keeps asking, where does it all go? You make more money than you did 5 years ago. You're not blowing it on gambling or wild vacations. You're not irresponsible. So why does it feel like you're pouring water into a bucket with an invisible hole in the bottom? Here's the answer, and it might surprise you. It's not one big hole. It's 7 small ones. 7 habits so deeply normalized by our society that your brain doesn't even register them as leaks. You walk past them every single day. And today, we're going to find every single one. Stay with me until trap number 6, because I'm going to show you how one completely normal signature, something you've probably done already, cost you over $100,000 in future wealth. That's not a metaphor, that's the math. And it will change how you see money forever. Let's get into trap number 1. It's Tuesday night. You just survived a 9-hour workday. You drag yourself through the front door, drop your bag, and realize the fridge is completely empty. Cooking right now feels like climbing Everest in flip-flops. So you grab your phone, 3 taps, a $12 burrito is on its way, but by the time you add the delivery fee, the service fee, the small order fee, and the tip, that $12 burrito just cost you $27. Or maybe it's your morning routine. You stop at the drive-thru for a $7 iced latte and a $5 pastry because you were running 5 minutes late. It feels completely harmless. It's just $12. You make good money. You can afford a coffee. That right there is trap number 1, the convenience premium, and it is quietly bleeding you dry. Why does our brain justify this so easily? Because you are making financial decisions at the exact moment your willpower is completely depleted. Behavioral economists call this decision fatigue. After a full day of work, of making choices, managing stress, dealing with people, your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational long-term thinking, is running on fumes. And when that part of your brain goes offline, a much older, more impulsive part takes over. The part that just wants immediate relief. That's the part the delivery apps are designed to talk to. They're not selling you a burrito. They're selling you the feeling of rescue, and society co-signs every bit of it. The marketing slogan is always some version of, you work hard, you deserve this. But let's be honest about what's actually happening here. You are subsidizing a tech company's profit margin with your own retirement fund. You are paying a premium tax for not planning ahead. Let's look at the numbers because this is where reality becomes uncomfortable. Assume you spend just $15 a day on convenience. 1 delivery order, or 1 premium coffee run, or 1 rideshare you could have walked. That's $450 a month. It doesn't feel like much. Now let's introduce opportunity cost. What if you didn't hand that $450 to a delivery app, but instead invested it every single month into an S&P 500 index fund at an average annual return of 8%? Over 10 years, that $15 a day isn't $54,000. It's $82,000. Let that sink in. You are not buying a $27 burrito. You are incinerating the down payment on a house. You are burning 2 or 3 years of early retirement. Eaten, gone, delivered to your door. Now, you don't have to live like a monk. You don't have to give up coffee or eating out forever. But you have to stop paying the convenience premium as a default setting. The fix is friction. Make it harder to make the lazy choice. Delete the food delivery apps from your phone right now. When you want to order, you'll have to download the app again, and that tiny bit of friction is often enough for your rational brain to take back control. Invest in a high-quality coffee machine. Spend 2 hours on Sunday doing batch cooking, so that when Tuesday night rolls around and you are completely drained, dinner is already waiting in the fridge. You don't have to cook, you just have to heat. Every single time you choose to heat up that meal instead of opening an app, you're not saving $15. You're actively buying back a piece of your future financial freedom. But the delivery apps? That's just the beginning. Trap number 2 is quieter, sneakier, and it actually disguises itself as self-improvement. Let me show you. I want you to do something right now. Pull up your last bank statement and actually look at the recurring charges. Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, Amazon Prime. A $50 gym membership you haven't used since January. A meditation app you opened twice in March and forgot about. A cloud storage upgrade for files you never access. A premium subscription to some productivity tool from a YouTube ad you saw 6 months ago. And whenever you notice these charges, what's the lie you tell yourself? It's only $10. It's only $15. It's not what's making me broke. But here's the thing about wealth. It's rarely destroyed in one giant explosion. Usually, it dies by 1,000 tiny cuts. Multi-billion-dollar companies have spent decades engineering this exact trap, and they've used two incredibly powerful psychological weapons to do it. The first is called the path of least resistance. They know humans will always choose the easier option. That's why signing up for a subscription takes one click and Apple Pay, but canceling requires you to log in, navigate through 5 different menus, sit through a "Are you sure?" guilt trip, and in some cases practically submit a formal written request. The friction is intentional. They are weaponizing your natural laziness against your bank account. The second weapon is even more insidious, the aspirational self. Ask yourself, why don't you cancel the gym membership? You haven't been in 3 months. You know you haven't. But canceling feels like admitting defeat. It feels like giving up on the version of yourself who wakes up at 5 a.m. and crushes a workout. You're not paying for fitness. You're paying a monthly subscription fee to keep the fantasy of your better self alive. You are paying a guilt tax. And companies know this. They price their subscriptions specifically to sit below the threshold where you'd actually feel the pain. Let's be conservative. Let's say you have $120 a month tied up in subscriptions you barely use, or could easily replace. That's a gym you haven't visited in months, 2 streaming services you cycle between, an app or 2 you opened and forgot. $120 a month. Invested at a standard 8% market return. Over 10 years. $21,800. Nearly $22,000. Sacrificed so you can keep scrolling past shows you're never actually going to watch. Think about how insane that is. The fix is what I call the burn it down audit. This weekend, you're going to sit down with your bank statement and cancel every single subscription you have. All of them. Don't evaluate. Don't debate. Just cancel. Then wait. If after a week you genuinely miss something, if your life is actually worse without it, go ahead and resubscribe. But I will bet you anything. At least 70% of those services will quietly disappear from your life, and you will not notice they're gone. Stop funding someone else's recurring revenue model. Start funding your own. Now, trap number 3 is different. This one doesn't feel like a leak at all. In fact, your brain tells you it's a smart financial move. It's the one hiding in your pocket right now. You walk into a phone store. Your current phone works perfectly fine. Maybe the battery drains a little faster than it used to, but it does everything you need. You text, you scroll, you call, it works. Then you see it. The new model, titanium frame, slightly better camera. The price tag says $1,200. Now, be honest with yourself. Would you ever hand over $1,200 in cash for a phone when you already have a working one? Probably not. That would feel obviously wasteful. But then the salesperson smiles and says, "It's only $50 a month added to your current plan." Suddenly, it seems totally reasonable. You sign the paper, you walk out, you feel great about it. Welcome to trap number 3, the payment plan illusion. Companies have invested billions of dollars studying exactly how to manipulate your brain's perception of cost. And the most powerful tool they've found is this: shifting your focus from the price of the asset to the monthly cash flow. Your brain doesn't naturally think in terms of total cost. It thinks in terms of, can I cover this month? And if you have $50 in your budget at the end of the month, your brain says, I can afford this. But there is a massive critical difference between affording the monthly payment and actually affording the item. What they're selling you is the illusion of affordability. They wrap a depreciating piece of glass and metal in a digestible $50 monthly payment, and your brain feels successful. But here's the reality. You're not buying a phone. You're signing a rolling 24-month debt contract. And the second that contract ends, there's a new model waiting. And the cycle restarts. This is the tech upgrade treadmill, and for millions of Americans, it never stops. If you're constantly upgrading your phone, your smartwatch, your tablet, all on payment plans, you have a permanent $50 tech tax draining out of your account every single month of your adult life. What happens if you step off that treadmill? If you keep your perfectly functional phone and invest that $50 instead at an 8% annual return? What does the math say? Over 10 years, $9,100. Almost $10,000 for a camera lens you use maybe twice a week and a screen that looks identical when you're scrolling Instagram. Adopt the 4-year rule. Your phone is a utility. It is not a status symbol. It is not a personality. Commit to keeping your devices for a minimum of 4 years. Battery dying in year 2? Pay $80 to replace the battery. Don't pay $1,200 to replace the entire phone. And adopt this rule for all consumer electronics. If you cannot buy it outright in cash, you cannot afford it. Full stop. Never, and I mean never, finance something that loses value the moment you take it home. Trap 4 is the most psychologically satisfying leak of all. Because when it's happening, your brain is literally celebrating. You feel like you won. Here's why that's a trap. Black Friday, Amazon Prime Day, or just a random Tuesday afternoon flash sale on Instagram. You're scrolling, and you see it. A jacket, a gadget, a kitchen appliance you didn't even know you wanted an hour ago. And next to it, a massive red tag. Originally $200, now just $100. You hit Add to Cart, and later, when your partner or your friend asks about it, you tell them, proudly, I saved $100. No, you didn't save $100. You spent $100 on something you weren't planning to buy this morning. Retailers have mastered a cognitive exploit called price anchoring. When they show you the $200 price tag first, they plant that number in your brain as the reference point, the anchor. Once that anchor is set, the $100 price feels like a bargain. Your brain literally does not register this as losing money. It registers it as winning. You get a genuine biological dopamine release, the same chemical that fires when you win a game or receive a compliment. You feel clever. You feel like you beat the system. And then retailers layer on urgency, countdown timers, only 3 left in stock. This deal ends at midnight. These tactics are deliberately designed to activate your fight-or-flight instinct and completely bypass your rational prefrontal cortex. You stop thinking and start reacting. You aren't shopping. You are being hunted by a multi-billion-dollar industry that has studied your brain for decades. Let's strip away the emotion. Say you fall for fake savings just once a month, spending $100 on things you didn't need, simply because they were 50% off. Your brain has been tricked into thinking you saved $1,200 this year. The math says something completely different. You didn't save anything. You lost $1,200. If you'd invested that $100 a month instead, over 10 years at 8%, $18,200. $18,000 of real, compounding, life-changing future wealth. Traded for a pile of discounted items collecting dust in the back of your closet right now. Rewrite your internal script. Burn this into your mind. If you buy something on sale that you didn't plan to buy, you didn't save money. You spent money. And implement the 48-hour rule immediately. Anytime you see a can't-miss sale, close the tab, walk out of the store, and wait exactly 48 hours. I will guarantee you, 90% of the time, the dopamine craving will have completely vanished. The urgency was manufactured. Your money stays exactly where it belongs. Working for you. Trap 5 hits a little closer to home. This one lives in your closet. And the most painful part? The more you spend on it, the worse it makes your actual financial situation. You get an invite to a dinner, a networking event, or just a weekend brunch with people you want to impress. You walk to your closet, which is packed with clothes, and think, I have absolutely nothing to wear. So you go out and drop $200 on a designer shirt with a highly recognizable logo, or you haul in a pile of cheap fast fashion that you'll wear twice before the seams start unraveling. You're spending your hard-earned money to project an image of success. But here's the tragic irony that nobody talks about openly. The obsession with looking rich is one of the most effective wealth-destroying traps in existence. This trap runs deeper than vanity. It's rooted in something profoundly human, the need for external validation. When you don't have a large net worth sitting quietly in your investment accounts, you feel an almost primal pressure to demonstrate your value through things people can see. You buy things you don't need, to impress people you don't know, to feel a status you haven't yet built financially. Now take a close look at how actual millionaires behave. The research on this is consistent and fascinating. Most people with genuine, lasting wealth don't walk around covered in designer logos. They operate from what I call stealth wealth, the complete absence of any need to prove financial success through visible consumption. They already know their number. They don't need you to know it too. In fact, in the financial world, the person dripping in obvious designer brands is statistically often the person drowning in debt. They are literally wearing their entire net worth on their back. The loudest person in the room is almost always the most financially insecure. Let's run the numbers. Say you spend a conservative $250 a month on clothing, chasing seasonal trends, buying recognizable labels, refreshing your wardrobe to stay current. You are putting money into assets that depreciate to literally zero the second you cut the tags off. There is no resale value, no return, no compound growth. If you invested that $250 a month instead at 8% annual return over 10 years, $45,000. $45,000. Traded for the 3 seconds a stranger at a coffee shop might glance at your shirt and think you look successful. Embrace stealth wealth. Build what stylists call a capsule wardrobe, a small collection of high-quality, timeless, unbranded basics. A well-fitted pair of chinos, a clean white button-down, a versatile navy jacket. Items that last 5 to 8 years without going out of style. You spend less, you look more put together, and your real wealth grows in silence. Remember, money talks, but wealth whispers. Your goal isn't to look rich to a stranger. Your goal is to actually be wealthy when you log into your investment account. And now we arrive at trap number 6. If you take nothing else from this video, if you skip every other section, do not skip this one. This is the single biggest wealth destroyer I have ever seen for high earners, and almost everyone in this country is doing it. You finally hit a salary milestone, $70,000 a year, $100,000 a year. You feel like you've arrived, like you've earned it, and you decide, it's time for reliable, quality transportation. You walk into a dealership. The showroom smells like new car and opportunity. The salesperson is friendly, knowledgeable, and very good at their job. They show you something beautiful, you talk numbers, and you drive away in a brand new vehicle for only $600 a month. You justify it easily. You need a reliable car to get to work. You work hard. You deserve something nice. But I need you to hear this clearly. What you just did is financial sabotage. Full stop. In American culture specifically, a car is the ultimate status symbol because it's the most visible one. You can't invite your coworkers to see your retirement account balance. You can't flex your index fund portfolio in the parking lot, but you can absolutely park a gleaming new SUV in the company lot and watch people notice. Dealerships understand this psychology at a neuroscience level. They have entire training programs built around exploiting it. And here's their most powerful tactic. They never negotiate on the total price of the vehicle. They only ever negotiate on the monthly payment. They'll stretch a loan from 48 months to 72 months, or even 84 months, just to make that monthly number look manageable to your brain. And your brain, which is wired to think short-term, signs off on it. You walk out feeling like a winner. But you just signed up for years of financial servitude to a depreciating asset. This is the number I promised you at the start of this video. Pay attention. When you finance a brand new car, you are doing something economically toxic. You are borrowing money and paying interest on that borrowed money to purchase an asset that is guaranteed to lose value. The second you drive that new car off the dealer's lot, it loses approximately 20% of its value, not over time, immediately, that same day. By year 5, it's lost roughly 60% of its original price. Now here is the comparison that should wake you up. What if, instead of signing a $600 a month car payment, you bought a reliable used car in cash, a 3-year-old Toyota or Honda, and invested that $600 every single month into a broad market index fund, returning 8%? Over 10 years, $109,000. Look at that difference. The person who financed the new car is left after 10 years with a used vehicle worth maybe $8,000, if they're lucky, and nothing in the bank from that payment. The person who bought, used, and invested? Over $100,000. One signature at a dealership. $100,000. Gone. That is not theoretical. That is the math. Change your entire framework for what a car is. A car is a tool. It is a metal box engineered to get you from one place to another. That is its function. It is not a reward. It is not a reflection of your worth as a person. The rule is simple, even if it requires ignoring what everyone around you is doing. Buy a reliable used car, pay for it in cash, and drive it until it falls apart. A 3 to 5-year-old Toyota Camry, Honda Accord, or similar makes an excellent, dependable vehicle. You're getting a car that's already taken its depreciation hit, so you don't have to. If you absolutely must finance, follow the 20/3/8 rule. 20% down payment, financed for no more than 3 years, and the monthly payment should not exceed 8% of your gross monthly income. Anything outside those parameters, you cannot afford the car. And once the car is paid off, don't upgrade, drive it. And redirect that old car payment, every dollar of it, straight into your investment account. There's one more trap. Trap 7. And this one is the most deceptive of all, because it comes disguised as something you genuinely deserve. It arrives with a promotion, a raise, or a windfall, and it feels like justice. You get the promotion. Your salary jumps from $60,000 to $75,000. You are thrilled. You've been grinding for this. And almost immediately the decisions start. Your current apartment feels a little small for your new position. Your furniture is fine, but it doesn't match the person you're becoming. Your old weekend routine was staycations, but you've earned a real vacation. Your grocery list could upgrade to the nicer brands. So you upgrade. One thing at a time, slowly. It all feels completely reasonable. Fast forward exactly 1 year. Your income went up by $15,000, but your savings account, your actual net worth, is in exactly the same place it was before. More money in, same amount of wealth out. You are still living paycheck to paycheck. You are earning more than you ever have in your life, and you are still broke. This is lifestyle inflation, and it is one of the most universal and least discussed financial traps in existence. Why do we do this? It's not stupidity. It's deeply wired psychology running a program called the I deserve it delusion. Here's how it works. When you're in survival mode, grinding at work, sacrificing weekends, white-knuckling through stress, your brain experiences this as deprivation. It's keeping a running tab. And when the raise finally comes, your brain doesn't say, invest this for future security. It says, we've been deprived long enough, pay the tab, now. And our entire culture reinforces this. Society tells us, through advertising, through what our peers do, through social media, that a higher income must equal a visibly better lifestyle. To not upgrade when you can afford to feels almost irresponsible, or boring, or like you're doing it wrong. But what you're actually doing when you inflate your lifestyle to match your income is this. You're raising the floor of what it costs to keep you alive. You're making your survival more expensive. You're running faster on a treadmill that's now set to a higher speed, but you're still on the same treadmill. The exits look exactly the same. Let's put numbers to it. You get a net raise of $500 a month. You use it to move into a slightly nicer apartment and buy organic groceries. At the end of year 1, the net contribution of that raise to your wealth is 0. You are literally no wealthier than before you got the raise. Now the opportunity cost? What if you froze your lifestyle completely? What if you stayed in your perfectly adequate apartment, kept your perfectly adequate groceries, and took that $500 and put it directly into an S&P 500 index fund at 8%? Over 10 years, $91,000. You didn't just spend a little extra rent money. You robbed your future self of nearly 6 figures. You traded the certainty of financial freedom for a kitchen island and a slightly better view. The fix is aggressive, but it's the single most powerful wealth-building move available to you. The 100% rule. The 100% rule is simple. Whenever you receive a raise, a bonus, a tax refund, or any windfall income, You pretend it doesn't exist. Before it ever touches your checking account, you set up an automatic transfer that routes 100% of that new money directly into your investment accounts. You are already surviving on your current income. You've proven that. So any increase beyond that baseline is pure, unspent, investable future freedom, if you treat it that way. The mechanism is the key. Automate it. Talk to HR about having your raise direct deposited into a separate account. Set up an automatic transfer the day your raise takes effect. Make the decision once, remove your future self from the equation, and let it compound. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is where wealth is created. Widen that gap deliberately, invest the difference aggressively, and you will break the cycle permanently. If you've been watching this and realizing you've been falling into most of these traps, first, take a breath. You are not alone, not even close. These aren't signs that you're bad with money. These traps were engineered by some of the most sophisticated behavioral scientists and marketing teams on the planet, backed by billions of dollars in research, to keep you spending, keep you in debt, and keep you running on that treadmill. But today, you see the treadmill. And the moment you see it, truly see it, you have the power to step off. You just found, potentially, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars leaking silently out of your financial life. The 7 traps we covered today, if all corrected simultaneously, could redirect over $300,000 into your investment accounts over the next decade. But plugging the holes is only half the equation. The other half is knowing what to do next. Awareness without action is just frustration. So take one trap from this video, just one, and make a concrete move on it today. Cancel one subscription, delete one delivery app, set up one automatic transfer. One decision made today that your future self will thank you for. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe. Because every week on this channel, we break down exactly how money actually works, cut through the noise, and give you the real frameworks to build wealth in the real world. No fluff, no get-rich-quick schemes. Just the math, the psychology, and the moves that actually work. If you want that, hit subscribe right now. It's free. And it might be the most valuable financial decision you make today. Stop surviving. Start building. I'll see you in the next one.